Hello everyone, welcome back to the Red Sea podcast. This is Dennis as always, this time solo after a few shows, and I know I should be way more joyful about the topic we're covering today, but I'm sadly not. I know I probably look like I'm exhausted. I know I probably look like I am done with some stuff, and that's because I sadly am. As most of you have seen, as I've been yelling loudly, especially on Twitter, about it ever since last night at about 2-ish a.m. Our Instagram account got suspended, and of course the ball fell to the Threads account as well. And from then to now, I've been talking with people, I've been getting advice and stuff like that. I've tried to reach out to Instagram, no one's reached back. And yeah, I'm trying to look into it. I have more or less landed to some specific plans, even though I'm still trying to work on some stuff to try and figure some stuff out, because this is full on new territory for me as well. I am probably gonna give the people over at Instagram until Friday, so 3-4 days have completely passed, so we cover the 72-hour mark. I'm gonna be fully active on the rest of the platforms, which are of course here, X/Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, etc., Bluesky and stuff like that. And I'm gonna keep giving you all updates as the time passes. My aim is to do all I can to get the account back at worst by the weekend, due to the weekend activity, of course. I am probably gonna take more action and stuff. I'm still getting some advice from some people tomorrow, so I'm gonna leave another night, so the 24 hours close, and I'm gonna start looking into it more tomorrow, checking emails and stuff. And again, I'm gonna be fully active, covering everything on the rest of the platforms. Nothing's gonna change, no content's going away. But my priority for the next few days is gonna be fully focused on getting the Instagram account back. If anyone knows anything extra, knows any way to reach out to Instagram faster, please do feel free to reach out to me in any other platform, whether that would be commenting here, whether that would be over on Twitter, ideally, even over on TikTok and stuff like that. This is probably going to be up as a clip. So yeah, that's that. That's the brand problems, and then I know that I have no doubts that if worst case scenario and if push comes to shove, you all will help me rebuild a platform, given that on all other platforms I've gotten more love and support than ever before. We're hitting new milestones, so on and so forth. But it would just be a shame for a year and a half of work to just go down the drain on a platform. But we'll see. I'm going to try and stay positive. I'm going to try and stay calm. And I'm going to handle it as best as I can and keep updating you all. Now, moving forward to the joyful stuff of the day. Moving forward to the incredible stuff that we saw yesterday. and moving forward to something that we should be very proud of. Of course, Champions League nights, Olympiacos get their second win back-to-back in the league stage, beating Bayer Leverkusen 2-0. And what a win it was, what a way to open up, what a couple of performances. And this game was a final. And the importance of this game was even more given what happened in the cup and being knocked out of the cup. So the players had something to prove. Me and Gav did talk about how the PAOK game, as detrimental as it was to momentum and stuff, needed to be both a blip and a reality check, which it seems like it was, because I think the simpler way to put it is that the boys were up for it. The boys were up for it. They know what they had to do. Of course, it was a mix of good and bad performances, but that's to be expected, I think, in the Champions League. That's to be thought about in the level that you're playing at. But ultimately, the team worked like a perfectly oiled machine. Ultimately, the team went at it, and the team got the result that it needed. Now, it's getting a bit more complicated because, as I got told right before we started, Karabakh did win, which means that they do actually go ahead of us. Let me actually check the standings. Yes, Karabakh are 17th, as they did beat Eintracht Frankfurt 3-2. Now, that does not change that much with the stuff that's regarding us, because we still need a win against Ajax. We still need a win in Amsterdam. The ideal scenario would be 2 wins. The necessary scenario, perhaps, would be 2 wins, and we've gotten 1. We've gotten 1, and we need to finish it off. I'm pretty sure it is Kostas Jolakis that said it. These boys need to go to Amsterdam and pick up the win because they deserve it. Because they put up in an incredible effort to get the results needed to fight, despite how the season started, especially in the Champions League stage. They deserve it. It's as simple as that. They deserve this. They truly deserve this. And they need to go and get the win to prove it, not to anyone else, but to themselves. So, as I was saying, we currently stand 23rd level on points with Napoli and Copenhagen, who drew yesterday, which was perhaps an ideal result for us. Of course, Club Brugge are 26 with 7 points. Paphos, who played Chelsea, are 27th with 7 points. Then there is Bodo that picked up a shocking win against Manchester City. Then there's Benfica, who I'm pretty sure do play Juventus. Yes, the game has started. Benfica play Juventus. So ideally, we need 2 results that would be self-evident in almost any case. We need Chelsea to beat Paphos, and we need Juventus to beat Benfica. Now, Chelsea and Paphos, for me, are like, come on, there is no... I'd like to at least think that there is no way that Paphos go ahead and get a result against Chelsea. I'd love to think that. Now, Benfica is a different story because Juventus-Benfica is more of an even match, I guess. Juventus-Benfica is necessarily more of an unpredictable match. And hopefully, Juventus get the job done. We still hold the qualification in our hands because, again, as I said, unbelievable stuff needs to happen for us not to qualify if we win. But we need to win. We need to go to Amsterdam. We need to go to Amsterdam exactly like we played yesterday. We need to go to Amsterdam and face an Ajax that suddenly is at play for top 24 as well after they got a comeback victory yesterday against Villarreal. But I said this to a couple of people and I'll say it here as well. I do believe that with how Olympiacos have fared this season, it's better for us if Ajax have something to play for. And let me explain. Let me land. Olympiacos generally tends to fare better. Olympiacos on his day, right? The first thing that we need to keep in mind is for us to play our game. We need to play like we did yesterday and to cover the match on our end. So with that in mind, Olympiacos generally tend to play better against teams that play actual football. If we had an Ajax that was just sitting back doing nothing absolutely and had nothing to play for, perhaps that would have been more of an issue. But now an Ajax that's desperate to get a qualification and will open up is more susceptible to our pressing. Our pressing can be much more dangerous and effective against a team that's desperate to get a result. And in addition to that, we hold better momentum than Ajax. And seasons compared, we're in a better position than Ajax. I don't fear this game. I've said this ever since my early predictions when the draw happened. I feared the Leverkusen game much more than Ajax. Amsterdam is never an easy trip away. I know that. And I'm not underestimating a team like Ajax in any way. But the boys can do this. And they're heading into the game with incredible momentum. An asterisk to that is that I hope we win the game against Volos and that rotation is treated well. We need to just dismantle Volos with, play the beating. At this rate, play the beating. It's a perfect chance for players like Liatsikouras, players like Pneumonidis to get some time. Arrest people. Get El Kabi a half for him to get his footing back into the club. Play Yaremchuk, play whoever, and just arrest the main guys and have them ready for Amsterdam. Now, as I'm keeping my eye on the standings, getting into more specifics, slowly but surely, I really want to start with this. I did kind of talk about it, but I wanted to get into it with more detail. This and this go a bit in hand, in my opinion, because the effective pressing that completely killed Leverkusen yesterday goes hand in hand with how Mendilibar treated the game. We saw the game against Stuttgart for Leverkusen. and we saw how Stuttgart pressed, and we saw how Stuttgart completely destroyed Bayer Leverkusen. And we came into the game with a style that's not different than any of the other times Mendy has thrown the team out there, but a style against a team that proved to be extremely effective. And with how the team was structured, yes, defensively we were a bit lackluster, and I'll get into that. But it choked Leverkusen up until a point, because I think perhaps Leverkusen came to the Karaiskakis a bit lost with how their form has completely dipped lately. Leverkusen came to the Karaiskakis a bit lost, not knowing what to expect. Their star players didn't show up. Costinha and Esse completely dog-walked Alex Grimaldo. And we played like proper Olympiacos, both with the quality that we hold and the results that we deserve. But getting more into this in more detail, Mendy treated this game, perhaps this was the best coaching performance of Mendy Limbare of the entire season. Going into the lineup, we saw one main change. First of all, that Rodinei got moved back up front into the wing, and he had Costinha behind him. Then we saw the trio that we should be seeing almost every game in midfield, which is Esse, Mouzakitis, and Chiquinho. Then we saw Pirola, of course, being back. And even with the subs, even if the subs were a bit late, as always, Dani Garcia got used exactly how we've been screaming for Dani Garcia to be used, which is as a game ender around the 70th to 75th minute. Julien Biancon, of course, gave Pirola some rest. Then came Ayoub El-Kabi as well. And then Bruno got put up on the left wing. And you had two sides filled with four fullbacks. And Bruno performed very well on the wing, because Bruno is weirdly like Rodinei. He is a bit lackluster playing left back because of his defensive mishaps, per se. Again, I'm not saying that's Rodinei in general, because I realized how that sounded. I'm saying that's Rodinei this year. But when he plays up front, like he did for the first time, I'm pretty sure yesterday, his positives show way more. Same for Rodinei this year. He's been a bit of a problem as a right back, but he went back to right wing and he got 2 assists. It's attacking confidence. And again, Bruno has the speed and the strength to kill a defense that's exhausted. So for me, Mendy treated this game perfectly. And of course, the last substitution was Lolo Scipioni, but that was a substitution caused because of an injury, which sucks. And I haven't even heard anything about Chiquinho on whether it's something serious or if he'll miss a game or anything. I don't know. Just even if it's not anything serious, just rest him against Follows to play Yazici, honestly. But going into the stats as well. Going into the stats, I feel like I have to start with this. And I feel like I have to get up and slow clap. What a performance by Konstantinos Zoulakis. I'm going to start off with the expected goals that Leverkusen had. Mind you, Zoulakis kept a clean sheet. I'm going to say that again. The expected goals listed for Bayer Leverkusen a day after are 2.58. I'll repeat that for those that didn't hear it, the expected goals for Bayer Leverkusen are 2.58. And Leverkusen scored 0. Mind you, that's also on defensive work. But going into that, you have the 6 saves of Kostas Tsolakis, which most of them were 1v1 situations. One that I can recall is the reaction save from Luka Vázquez. One is one he saved with his leg, which I don't even remember who shot it. Let me actually try and check that out. Of course, 2 saves from Alex Grimaldo, Loic Badet. I'm pretty sure it was... No, Kofane's shot was the close range effort that he saved, that Pirola immediately sent to the moon. And again, saves from inside the box, of course. 4 too high claims to his name as well. And then you have people calling him not good enough. Like, come on. I said this perhaps the entire year. Kostas Tsolakis is a player that will always demand more of himself. He's an extremely talented goalkeeper. We've talked about this a lot of episodes ago, but I'll bring an old argument back that Kostas Tsolakis is perhaps one of the best position-for-position players that's played for this club. One of the best keepers that's played for this club. And you have a player that's always going to recognize when he's having a bad season, he's having bad form, and he's going to work on it. And players like that need one game. They need one game of a performance like that to completely flip the switch. And I have a feeling that we're going to see even better stuff from Kostas Tsolakis. Hopefully, he doesn't need to make that many saves again. Hopefully. But I feel like this was a season turner. Because even though he hasn't had a bad season, because I believe that he didn't have a bad season, Tsolakis was the MVP yesterday. I didn't. I put him second, but Tsolakis was the Champions League MVP yesterday. He was the official MVP of the match. And he also deserved it. We'll get to who I put MVP and why in a bit. But yeah, even though he hasn't been having a bad season, I do truly believe that this is even just the point where he picks it up even more and reminds people who Kostas Tsolakis truly is. Now, I'll actually get to him. I wasn't going to get to him this early, but I'll get to him. My MVP of the game, Santiago S. Because God damn did Santiago S have a game for himself. He was everywhere. His heat map is the entirety of the field. I usually don't tend to focus on stats, and I'll go into more general talk later, but I'll relate off some of his stats from yesterday. Santiago S, accurate passes, 74%, 26 out of 35. Accurate passes in own half, 77%, 10 out of 13. Then we're going into defending stats because God was here everywhere there as well. He had 15 defensive contributions. He had 3 out of 5 tackles won. He had 4 interceptions. He had 4 clearances. He had 2 block shots, which one of his block shots, for me, was perhaps one of the plays of the game where he just drops and does a double tackle on an effort from the edge of the box, I'm pretty sure, which again could have been game-saving and absolutely insanity. Then he had 9 recoveries, he won 5 out of his 9 ground duels, and he didn't get dribbled past. Santiese had his best game of the season, and Santiese was unbeatable. And if we get the same Santiago Esse in Amsterdam, I'm way less worried. And the quote that deserves to get the final word about Santiese is that 70% of the earth is covered with water and the rest, 30%, is covered by Santiago Esse. What a godly game. What a godly game. And I am seeing the question and I'll get into it immediately. Rodinei, I talked about him. He's had a weird season, hasn't he? He's had a weird season. I can't really say anything bad about Roddy's performance yesterday because he got 2 assists. But I'm pretty sure that Rodinei is the only man that can have a quiet game and get 2 assists. He probably executed his best corner that he's taken for us in the assist to Costinha's goal, of course. And then he's him stealing the ball and darting up the right wing to find Taremi perfectly on the run and not send him out for an offside. That's prime Rodinei. That's the Rodinei we all know and love. But he was quiet. Aside from that, of course, he tracked back. He helped Costinha defensively. Even though Costinha didn't really need it, and we'll get into him. But I have to applaud him because it was one of his better performances of the season, even though it was weirdly quiet for a player who got 2 assists. And I spoke about him just now, and I'll very quickly transition over to him. Costinha, who, again, right behind Esse, Chiquinho, and Zolatis, for me it was Costinha. Because not only did he pick up a wonderful header, not only did him getting that goal that early change the entire game moving forward, but he completely dog-walked Alex Grimaldo. Of course, Grimaldo got some crosses in, Grimaldo did cut inside sometimes, but not even on the important, on the general image of the game, Grimaldo got nullified. And that's down to 2 people. That's down to Costinha, and that's down to Panos Arechos. Great performance by Costinha, and perhaps proving my point a bit on why he should start. And again, perhaps it's another time to sit down and think about moving Rodinei up to the right wing on a permanent basis and reinforcing the right back position with Costinha as a starter, whether you go out and get someone or take someone from the academy, promote someone from the academy or beat him. Perhaps it's time to think about that shift as well, but we'll see. We'll see. Costinha just definitely deserves to play more and to start more. Spoke about him as well. Panos Arechos. Panos Arechos, who is a leader. Panos Arechos, who will play to the fullest with a card or without a yellow card, with a cast on the hand or without a cast on the hand. with a bang on the head or without a bang on the head, and everything in between, Panos Retsos will be there. The passion, the incredible defending, the self-sacrifice that he played with. I saw a lot of people saying that he had the mistake in him yesterday, and I'll steal a quote from a message I saw. When you play in a self-sacrificing way, the odd mistake will be there. But the play, specifically, that I want to note down from Retsos' game yesterday is that amazing body throw of a tackle that he had to block a shot late on in the game, I'm pretty sure. And then he just stayed there. He had given it his all, and to block any threat late on from an absolute open volley, he threw his entire body, and he needed time to get up. And that's just Retsos. And as I've said before, the smile that Retsos had at the end, he just showed he's one of us deep down. He said that the Karaskakis, of course, is the best place in the world. He loves the fans, and the fans should love him. And it's exactly this. Pirola's return is so important. We missed him. Him paired with Pirola is a perfect combination, because these two complement each other perfectly. We have a leader now, a legend of the club, a legendary captain, next to one of the most talented center backs we've ever brought in. And they completely, even though they had the odd mistake in them, especially Pirola coming back from a long-term injury, they both in the defense, they are incredible together. And honestly, as games in and games out prove, they're both irreplaceable in their own way. And that's another blessing. Now, moving further up the midfield, Chiquinho. Chiquinho is back to his Chiquinho ways. And I think the first thing to talk about in regards to Chiquinho is the fact that he played the entire game injured, because Chiquinho, opening up, was in pain on his leg. But he played, he continued, and he lasted 82 minutes before having to ask for a substitution. And in those 82 minutes, he had 1 key pass to his name, 21 out of 25 accurate passes, which is absolute insanity. He had 37 touches with just 3 unsuccessful. He had 100% on the dribbles with 2 out of 2. And honestly, unbelievable game from Chiquinho. And there were some people that were calling him worst. And there were some people that were calling him worst from our own fan base, which is mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing. Chiquinho will always be the biggest bargain in, or at least recent transfer history. Chiquinho will always be one of the most irreplaceable and consistent players that we've seen. But he's gotten very unlucky with injuries this season. He's gone out injured on both games against the Spanish Giants. He's gone out injured yesterday, and I'm pretty sure, do correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he's gone out injured on another game. He's gotten very unlucky this year, but he keeps being there, which is more than important. Now, Mehdi Taremi, who now has 17 goal contributions to his name, matching Ayoub El Kabi. 34 goal contributions between them, which is unbelievable. Mehdi Taremi, who I've been a very harsh critic of, and again, I've not been a harsh critic of Mehdi Taremi because he's bad, but I've been a harsh critic of Mehdi Taremi because I know that in his recent performances, at least, he could do more. But he's gone and proved me wrong. And what is the best thing that I've said many times, it's that I've never been happier than when I'm wrong about doubting a player. Mehdi Taremi was great yesterday. He kept pressing, he threw his body, he put his body on the line. But that goddamn goal that he scored, of course, it's a perfect pass. It's an ideal pass by Rodinei, as I said earlier. But his expected goals are 0.3. That volley should have not gone in. It's an incredible shot that proves his incredible quality. And I hope now that Ayoub is back, that he goes back to that incredibly effective player that comes off the bench and kills defenses. And we never see that slow, ineffective, unable to control the ball Taremi that we saw for a few games. Taremi is a killer. And I've yelled many times that coming off the bench he's much more effective, even though he proved me wrong yesterday, as I said. And I hope this was just a momentum turn for him as well. Ooh, this one. Zelson tore apart the opponent's defense yesterday. What did you think of his performance? I sort of, kind of disagree hesitantly. Because Zelson was okay yesterday. I don't disagree with that. I have no complaints from anyone really yesterday. Of course, I didn't mention Mouzakitis either. Mouza had a good game, but more of a quiet game, given the incredible game of his midfield partner, both of them, Oves and Chiquinho. Zelson was very passionate. Zelson pressed a lot, but he wasn't the effective Zelson that he's been lately, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, he had successful dribbles. Let me actually check out how many he had. Yeah, he had 2 out of 3. He had 27 touches with just 1 unsuccessful, but he had no accurate crosses. He had no key passes. He had 11 out of 17 accurate passes in general. He didn't have any real chance. That's not the Zelson that we've been seeing. I have no real complaints from Zelson himself, but he could have done more yesterday. He didn't need to, but he could have done more yesterday. That's no disrespect on Zelson, of course. But I know he can be way more effective than he was yesterday. As I was saying, as I was speaking from, he's finally back. And God have we missed him. Ayoub El Kabi. Ayoub didn't really have time to do anything yesterday. I'm pretty sure that Mehdi Mendy, not Mehdi. Let's move on. I'm pretty sure that Mendy just threw him in to get some minutes under his belt as he came back from a lost final, mind you. But solely the fact that he was available says enough. Ayoub is a legend. And as I said earlier, combined with how Taremi is playing, as he goes on to start again, especially in Amsterdam, I feel like we'll see incredible things from Ayoub El Kabi, which we usually do. We usually see incredible things from Ayoub. But that's about all I wanted to touch on game-wise. And as I was saying, of course, it's one more game. It's one more win. And as things stand, we currently still stand 23rd with Benfica still being tied. Let me actually go ahead and check Paphos and Union as well. Paphos still tied. And I'm pretty sure Union Saint-Gilloise, yes, still tied with Bayern. So as stuff is still quite early and not much has changed, we're going to keep an eye on it. And of course, I'm going to update you all when the games are over on Twitter. And I think that's about it today. I love the questions. I hope you all enjoyed. For those of you that either are watching now or after. And a quick reminder, for a few days, hopefully, you won't be able to find me over on Instagram, but you can find me anywhere else. The support lately is insane. I didn't even get the chance to celebrate 100 followers on Instagram. But we'll keep going bigger, and no matter what happens with the whole Instagram issue, we'll keep making this year insane. Thank you all for another very nice show. Thank you all, as always, for being here, no matter what. And again, as always, I'll see you the next one. Thank you.